Have you ever thought that something as innocent as a vegetable could silently be putting your life at risk? Imagine eating something you've always believed was healthy, something you've had in your salads, your soups, maybe even your daily meals, and then finding out it could actually trigger a stroke overnight. Sounds shocking, right? Well, today we're diving deep into what Japan's oldest doctor revealed, a truth that's been hiding in plain sight for years. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might just change the way you look at your dinner plate forever. Japan's oldest and most respected doctor, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, lived to be 105 years old, and throughout his long medical career, he shared insights that changed the way people think about health and aging. One of his most shocking warnings came from decades of studying elderly patients in Japan, a nation known for its long-living population. He revealed that sometimes the very foods believed to be healthy can turn into silent threats as we grow older. Among these, he pointed to one surprising culprit, the eggplant, also known as brinjal. It's a vegetable that appears on dinner tables around the world and is often praised for being light, nutritious, and good for digestion. But according to Dr. Hinohara, what most people don't realize is that eggplant contains a natural toxin called solanine, which can become dangerous for people over the age of 60. Solanine is a chemical compound naturally found in certain vegetables belonging to the nightshade family, which includes potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. Its role in the plant is to protect it from pests and disease, but in the human body, especially in older adults, it can cause trouble. As we age, our metabolism slows, and our ability to break down certain plant compounds becomes less efficient. What was once easily tolerated in youth may begin to cause inflammation, circulation problems, or nerve sensitivity later in life. Dr. Hinohara observed that many elderly patients who suffered from strokes, blood pressure spikes, and circulation issues had one thing in common: frequent consumption of nightshade vegetables, particularly eggplant. He explained that solanine can constrict blood vessels and interfere with calcium flow in the heart and arteries. This makes it harder for the heart to pump blood smoothly and increases the risk of clot formation. When blood flow to the brain is interrupted, even for a moment, a stroke can occur. What makes this so dangerous is that the symptoms don't appear immediately. A person might eat a meal rich in eggplant, feel fine, and go to bed, only to wake up the next morning with dizziness, weakness, or numbness, early signs of a stroke or mini-stroke. For Dr. Hinohara, this wasn't just theory. He saw it happen repeatedly in his clinical experience. He often reminded his patients that food could be both medicine and poison. It all depends on how, when, and how much you eat. Eggplant may offer fiber and antioxidants, but its solanine content poses a hidden risk for those whose bodies can no longer handle it properly. He emphasized that moderation was key, and that elderly individuals, especially those with high blood pressure or a history of vascular issues, should either avoid eggplant or consume it rarely, and only when it's fully cooked and ripe. This warning was not meant to scare people away from eating vegetables, but to raise awareness about how aging changes the way our bodies react to food. Dr. Hinohara believed that understanding these small details could save lives. He often said that prevention doesn't come from avoiding all risks, but from respecting your body's limits and knowing what no longer serves you. In the case of eggplant and solanine, that awareness could be the difference between a peaceful night's sleep and a life-threatening stroke. For most of our lives, we've been told that eating vegetables is one of the healthiest things we can do. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that protect our bodies from disease. But as Japan's oldest Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara discovered through his decades of medical practice, not all vegetables behave the same way in the human body, especially as we age. He observed that some of the foods long believed to be wholesome can actually become harmful if consumed in excess or under the wrong conditions. Among these foods, he highlighted the eggplant, a common vegetable found in kitchens all around the world, as one of the most surprising sources of health risks for older adults. Eggplant, with its deep purple skin and soft texture when cooked, is often seen as a light, nutritious addition to meals. It's used in everything from curries to stews and even grilled dishes, and many people enjoy it as part of a balanced diet. But what makes it potentially dangerous, according to Dr. Hinohara, is the chemical it naturally produces called solanine. This compound is part of the nightshade family's defense mechanism against insects and fungi. But in humans, solanine can have toxic effects when accumulated in the body. While small amounts usually cause no harm, for people over 60 whose bodies process and eliminate toxins more slowly, solanine can quietly disrupt the delicate balance of the circulatory and nervous systems. Dr. Hinohara explained that solanine can irritate the lining of blood vessels, making them inflamed and less flexible. When arteries lose flexibility, blood pressure rises, and blood flow becomes uneven. This increases the risk of clots forming, which can then block blood supply to the brain and trigger a stroke. What's particularly concerning is that these effects aren't immediate or dramatic. They build up silently over time, often going unnoticed until a major health event occurs. Many of his older patients who suffered from unexplained dizziness, headaches, or fatigue didn't realize their diet could be playing a role. When he examined their eating habits, eggplant and other nightshade vegetables appeared consistently in their meals. He also noticed that people who consumed eggplant alongside salty, fried, or oily foods faced even higher risks. The combination of solanine, excessive sodium, and unhealthy fats caused more strain on the heart and arteries, amplifying inflammation and pressure inside the blood vessels. This slow, ongoing stress on the cardiovascular system can make an elderly person's body more prone to sudden stroke or heart complications, often without any prior warning. The danger of foods like eggplant, according to Dr. Hinohara, lies in how deceptive they are. They look fresh, natural, and nutritious, which makes people assume they're always safe. That's why he referred to it as a hidden danger in the diet. The vegetable itself isn't inherently bad, but for those over 60, it can act like a slow poison if eaten frequently or in large amounts. The key is not fear, but awareness. By understanding how aging changes the body's chemistry, older adults can make smarter food choices and prevent needless health crises. As we grow older, our bodies change in ways we don't always notice. Foods that once energized us in our 20s or 30s can start causing discomfort, sluggishness, or even health issues later in life. Japan's oldest doctor, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, spent over 7 decades studying these subtle shifts, and one of his most profound observations was that the aging body doesn't process food the same way it used to. He often reminded his patients that what's safe and beneficial when you're young might not be the same once you pass 60. The body's metabolism slows down, the digestive system becomes less efficient, and the heart and arteries lose some of their youthful resilience. That's why, as he explained, the same diet that once kept you healthy might silently be harming you in your later years. When we're young, our bodies have a remarkable ability to filter out toxins, process nutrients quickly, and recover from dietary mistakes. The liver and kidneys function at their peak, breaking down substances that could otherwise cause harm. The arteries are flexible, allowing blood to flow smoothly and keeping oxygen circulating efficiently. But as we age, this system becomes more fragile. The blood vessels start to stiffen, the body's detoxification process slows, and even natural plant chemicals that were once harmless can build up and cause problems. Doctor Hinohara explained that this is why older adults can develop reactions to foods they've eaten their entire lives without issue. Eggplant, for example, contains a compound called solanine, which younger bodies can handle with little trouble. However, once metabolism slows after 60, the body can't break down solanine as efficiently. Instead of being quickly expelled, it can linger and contribute to inflammation and vascular constriction. The result is a gradual increase in blood pressure and a higher risk of blood clots or stroke. For a younger person, the circulatory system compensates easily, but for someone older, that same reaction can have dangerous consequences. Dr. Hinohara described this process as the body's quiet shift from tolerance to sensitivity. He often told his elderly patients that age itself isn't the enemy, it's ignorance of these changes that causes harm. Continuing to eat without adjusting to your body's evolving needs is like using the same maintenance schedule on an old car that you did when it was new. The machinery is still valuable, but it requires more care, gentler treatment, and an understanding of its limits. That's why he encouraged people to observe how they felt after eating certain foods. If a meal caused bloating, dizziness, or a heavy feeling in the chest, it was a signal from the body, not something to ignore. Dr. Hinohara's philosophy was rooted in respect for the body's natural intelligence. He believed that aging should come with curiosity, not complacency. By learning how our nutritional needs shift over time, we can prevent the slow buildup of damage that leads to serious conditions like stroke, heart disease, or chronic inflammation. Aging doesn't have to mean decline, it means adaptation. The foods that served you well in your youth might need to be replaced, reduced, or prepared differently now. That awareness, he said, is the real secret to growing older without losing your vitality. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara believed that living a long and healthy life wasn't about strict diets or miracle foods but about balance, moderation, and understanding how the body changes with age. Through his long career as Japan's oldest practicing physician, he emphasized that prevention was far more powerful than treatment. He often said that food could either be a form of daily medicine or a slow poison, depending on how it was chosen and consumed. For older adults, especially those past 60, he advised being selective not out of fear, but out of respect for the body's natural limits. That's why he frequently cautioned his elderly patients to moderate or even avoid certain vegetables from the nightshade family like eggplant, potatoes, and tomatoes, which contain solanine, a chemical that can irritate blood vessels and increase inflammation. However, Dr. Hinohara's message was not about what to remove from your diet, but rather what to replace it with. He believed in the power of nourishing, anti-inflammatory foods that supported heart health, circulation, and brain function. He encouraged eating foods rich in antioxidants and healthy fats, foods that kept blood vessels flexible and the mind alert. His recommendations often reflected the traditional Japanese diet, which has long been associated with longevity and vitality. Green tea, for instance, was one of his daily essentials. He described it as a natural elixir, full of catechins that cleanse the body and protect the arteries. He also praised tofu and other soy-based foods for their ability to provide clean, plant-based protein without stressing the heart or raising cholesterol levels. Another key component of his philosophy was the inclusion of seaweed, a staple in Japanese cuisine. Seaweed is packed with minerals such as iodine, calcium, and magnesium, all of which support circulation and prevent arterial stiffness. He would often say that seaweed acts like a broom for the blood, helping to keep vessels clear and the body's internal systems running smoothly. Similarly, he encouraged older adults to eat sweet potatoes, which are rich in fiber, potassium, and beta-carotene nutrients that help control blood pressure and reduce oxidative stress. Dr. Hinohara was also a strong advocate for fermented foods, such as miso, natto, and pickled vegetables, which promote gut health and enhance nutrient absorption. He believed that a healthy gut was essential for longevity, as it affects everything from immune strength to mental clarity. He often reminded his patients that aging doesn't have to mean losing energy or strength. It simply means adjusting habits to support the body's slower rhythm. By replacing inflammatory foods with soothing, nutrient-rich alternatives, one could continue to live actively and joyfully even into their later years. Hydration and portion control were equally vital in his teachings. He recommended smaller, more frequent meals rather than heavy portions that burden digestion. Drinking plenty of water and herbal teas helped maintain circulation and prevent the thickening of blood, a major risk factor for strokes. His message was clear: live lightly, eat wisely, and treat every meal as an opportunity to heal rather than harm. Through balance and prevention, he believed anyone could extend both their years and their happiness. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara's life itself was living proof that longevity is not the result of luck or genetics alone, but a product of daily choices, mindset, and balance. He lived actively past 100, continuing to treat patients and give lectures well into his later years, and people often asked him what his secret was. His answer was always simple yet deeply meaningful. Longevity comes from awareness, moderation, movement, and joy. He believed that health wasn't just about what you eat, but also about how you think and how you live each day. In Japan, where people are known for living some of the longest and healthiest lives on Earth, this philosophy is deeply rooted in their culture, and Dr. Hinohara embodied it fully. He often said that food is just one part of the equation. Yes, eating clean, natural, and balanced meals was essential, but mental and emotional health were equally important. He noticed that people who smiled more, stayed curious, and maintained social connections tended to live longer and recover faster from illness. Stress, he warned, was far more toxic than any food. Chronic stress raises blood pressure, weakens the heart, and causes inflammation throughout the body, all of which accelerate aging. For that reason, he encouraged his patients to engage in joyful activities, spend time outdoors, and never stop learning. He saw curiosity as a kind of mental exercise that kept the brain young and resilient. When it came to physical health, Dr. Hinohara was an example of his own teachings. He didn't believe in intense workouts but in gentle, consistent movement. He famously took the stairs instead of the elevator, even in his 90 seconds, and advised older adults to keep their bodies active in simple ways, stretching, walking, or light household chores. He explained that movement keeps the blood flowing and the muscles strong, reducing the risk of stroke, heart disease, and depression. You don't stop moving because you grow old, he used to say. You grow old because you stop moving. For him, physical activity was not about fitness goals but about maintaining the body's natural rhythm and harmony. His approach to longevity also emphasized gratitude and purpose. He believed that people who had a reason to wake up every morning, whether it was to care for family, garden, paint, or volunteer, tended to live longer and with more fulfillment. Purpose, he said, nourishes the spirit in the same way that food nourishes the body. It gives life direction and meaning, which keeps both the mind and the body active. Dr. Hinohara's teachings remind us that true longevity isn't measured only in years but in vitality and peace of mind. Eating lightly, choosing natural foods, avoiding harmful habits, staying mentally engaged, and treating every day as a gift were the guiding principles of his life. He believed that the secret to long life was not found in medicine or strict diets but in balance between body and mind, between effort and rest, between what we take in and what we give back.